Bueno, se viene Necropolis.
It's your first night, so you'll need this.
Me muero de la ansiedad.
Ghostly lantern for ghastly tinkering.
Bueno, vamos con Necropolis. No puedo hablar mucho, gente, después de 2 porque te largan todo así, no te dan tiempo ni de amargarte. No te dan tiempo ni de amargarte, boludo.
You'll learn to peer into the souls of the dead. You'll learn how to twist them.
Encima la música tétrica, boludo, y Necrópolis. Ay, me encanta esto tétrico, oscuro, la música de fondo. Esta es la expansión que va a salir para PATH of EXILE, gente. El 29.
Shiny things from a corpse. But you can pilfer glorious things from a soul.
Exorcise. ¿Cómo exorcizar? No, me muero. No, boludo, bien demonio, bien oscuro, Demoníaco a tope. ¿Podés exorcizar los ítems? No entendí esa parte. Oh, boludo, mirá esa mierda de cosas del Atlas. No se asusten, gente, no se asusten. Te muestro ese árbol de pasiva y la gente se va a la mierda, boludo. Quality Online, más transfiguraciones de gema.
Más gemas
y encima eso era del Atlas,
The job's hard, but the pay's good. What do you say?
Oh, esta liga va a haber que jugarla, pa. Bueno, vamos.
Arimor,
Te espero,
a
mate.
man collecting the scattered spirits of the Eternal Empire for a mysterious purpose. These spirits have begun to haunt the monsters of Rayclast, unleashing their ancient fury and sorrow onto the world. A powerful family heirloom which can illuminate the wrathful spirits haunting monsters throughout Rayclast. With it, the Undertaker hopes to employ you to rid Rayclast of this menace, and further his cryptic cause. The lantern can be used when entering any new area. When peering through it, you can examine the spirits haunting that area. The lantern also allows you to manipulate them, letting you configure which monsters are affected by which mods.
O sea, cuando vas a entrar, puedes usar la linterna para ver qué afijos afectan a cada tipo de monstruo.
When peering through the lantern, you can also see extra details
por ahí el Roa dice
packs
que
of
tiene
monsters in the
increase
area.
maximum life.
Rowers here are considered common, whereas the water elementals are more scarce. If you want things to be easier, you can put the more difficult spirits on the elementals, which you'll encounter less often.
Claro, y aparte la densidad del monstruo va
by
cambiando
engaging with the
sobre
lantern,
la
you are
rareza.
able to intelligently control the difficulty in the Necropolis League. The spirits come in a number of forms which represent the danger they pose. For example here, the infested vultures are servant haunted, causing them to deal a small amount of increased damage. But the Vol's Vanguard are noble haunted, causing them to deal a large amount of increased damage. As you reach higher level areas in
Básicamente te vienen hordas de mobs y vos pones qué tipo de pack de 3 a 6 monstruos a 7 monstruos y te dan la estadística con la que salen. Prácticamente.
If you're aware of the composition of a monster pack, this means certain mods will be easier to manage. For example, the mod that increases a pack's damage for every monster killed has no effect on packs with a single monster, like a Devourer. However, if we found a spirit that makes
Bueno, ahí
the
dice
strongest
que hay
monster in a
afijos
pack
que no van a
deal
funcionar
100%
porque
more
si es un
damage,
monstruo y
well,
el afijo
I'm
mejora
going
el
to
daño
avoid
de
the
los
Devourer.
monstruos cuando los vas matando, no
You might
tiene
have noticed
sentido.
that the Lantern of Arimor provides
Pues
other
uno solo.
useful information, such as the types of abilities monsters use or the damage types they deal. So for those who are less familiar with how these monsters work, this can be a great way to
Es el
learn
tipo
what
de
you're up
daño también.
against. The spirits are constantly moving throughout Rayclast, so if you are finding a campaign area too difficult, you can just wait a few minutes and peer through the lantern again to see what's changed.
No tu cosa.
Of course, powerful spirits beget powerful
Dice
rewards.
que si está muy difícil la campaña,
There are
mientras que
two
lo vas haciendo por la
reasons why you
campaña o
might
algo,
want to face
puedes
a challenge now and then.
volver a reiniciar la zona básicamente.
Firstly, not all
Y
the
que te
spirits
ofrece
are
la
malicious.
linterna.
Sometimes the monsters aren't haunted at all, but are instead devoted. These can grant
Mirá, te
basic
pueden venir
rewards
pack
like
de mobs
increased
raros.
experience, or bigger rewards like spawning the nameless seer.
También pueden salir
An
raros con
NPC
mejor
that will
drops,
grant you a
supongo.
single unique item after you defeat all of the packs affected by that spirit.
Claro, cuando los
The more
derrotas te
haunted
ofrece
monsters
ciertas
you
cosas.
defeat in the previous area before using the lantern, the more likely the devoted monsters will appear in the next area.
Ah, mirá, viene el monstruo con un 200%
Monsters
de
haunted by
experiencia
higher tier
incrementada.
spirits will increase the chance of the
Mirá, son
devoted
raros,
appearing
claro.
even more. meaning that sometimes it's worth putting the hardest modifier possible on very common monsters, if you're brave enough. Again, we've tried hard here to allow players to customize the danger and reward as much as they can. Arimor is an Undertaker, and you can probably guess what we're taking to him. The second main reward from the Necropolis League is monsters with unresolved anguish. Once slain, their corpses need extra care from the Undertaker, and he will offer to take them back to his necropolis and store them in the morgue.
Qué lindo que está el NPC.
Time to earn your keep. When you are ready, you can visit the morgue to view the monsters you have collected, and then get to work burying them in one of many graves in Arimor's cemetery. For example, we will bury this CAHOS. Arimor's mysterious soul experiments can coalesce powerful items.
Oh, mirá qué bien pensado que está. Y ahí es cuando lo exorcizás el ítem. Lo llevás, lo enterrás y te da un ítem de los que vos podés elegir con esa estadística te puede llegar a salir. Con las estadísticas que busques. Ahí está.
Exactly what I hoped for. And this is where the Necropolis crafting system really shines. You'll have noticed that the corpse we collected earlier had a crafting effect on it. In fact, all collected corpses do. If you bury multiple corpses in the cemetery, all adjacent corpses can be exercised at once to create one item. All of the crafting effects on those corpses will apply to that same item. This allows you to have either one or many different crafting projects ongoing in the cemetery.
Podés craftear varios a la vez, es lo que está diciendo, ¿no, Mate? ¡Qué locura, boludo! ¡Qué puta locura! ¡Qué puta locura!
To go further, I could use these to generate higher tier modifiers. Then, I could try to bias it towards being an evasion pair with this.
Boludo! ¡Qué locura, viejo!
Finally, I'll apply some crafting effects that improve
the probability of getting good rolls. Es una granja de crafteo puro.
Now, let's craft our item and see what we get.
¡Vamos!
A ver, te unís todo. A ver. El puro crafteo, boludo. Es otra forma de craftear, básicamente.
Una locura, Mate.
Como si ya no hubiese suficientes.
As you can see now, we have a much better pair of boots, forged from the souls of our enemies.
Está bueno.
You can even use the entire cemetery to craft one item. There is always something you can do to try and ensure your item will be as best as it can be. We hope to see some really crazy grave crafts. If you are lucky, you might find corpses with meta crafting modifiers.
Qué lindo,
These can be buried to manipulate your crafting projects in more drastic ways. This one increases the potency of all crafting effects of adjacent undead corpses. Another meta crafting modifier gives a chance to drop an extra item from your craft, with all the same crafting outcomes applied. All you have to do is bury a lot of undead monsters.
Vale, es un 5%, ¿no? Pero...
¿Tenés 5% de chance de que te salga otro ítem más aparte del que hayas crafteado?
Claro, por cada cuerpo.
¿Por cada cuerpo es un 5% más?
Adyacentes igual, no sé hasta dónde llega.
Adyacentes, está bien.
You can also
te da un 5% de chance de que te pueda craftear otro ítem más, gente.
Adyacente es adyacente.
Una
As you
locura.
explore Rayclast, you might find the corpses of famous Eternal Empire families. And when you bury an entire family together and exorcise them, they will thank you with a unique specific to their lineage.
¡Qué locura!
For example, the Nivalius Inheritance Belt.
¿Podéis hacerlo con únicos
I'll
también?
give you a moment to check that out.
Y estos deben ser, no escuché, pero supongo que son los únicos que llegan
You can
por la
use
temporada.
other corpses alongside them to grant implicit mods, manipulate the values of
Normalmente
explicit
siempre
mods,
tienen algunos
and more.
ítems únicos la liga.
In this case, with the Parandus Pact, you can even change the modifiers it generates. This unique is a jewel which adds extra stats to passive skills in a radius when socketed into the passive skill tree. The stats it adds are randomly generated, but you can bias it towards a specific type by using other crafting effects, such as this one, which increases the chance of getting life modifiers. Let's see what we get.
A ver. ¿Te crea el único?
600% más de probabilidad de conseguir modificadores de vida. A ver qué toca.
A ver.
No tocaba nada, viste.
Qué lindo
Damn.
lo que hay.
We didn't get it this time. I guess we're going to have to go and collect more corpses. Of course, you can trade the corpses away to other players. All you need to do is purchase empty coffins from the Undertaker and use them on your corpses in the morgue, which will itemize them.
Claro, para venderlos. Podés almacenar cuerpos
Another
para
item in the
venderlos.
Necropolis League that you can find are Embers of the Old
Pensaron
Flame.
en todo. Podés vender los cuerpos almacenados. No, impresionante. Con ciertas estadísticas que la gente ande buscando.
And you can set them free by placing them in the Lantern of Arimor and defeating them. These embers drop throughout Rayclast as itemized packs of monsters. You are able to use these packs to replace the packs in areas. For example, we have found this All-Flame Ember of Tarfoa. We can now go to enter the next area and replace one of the monster packs in here. You can see we have also gotten one of the devoted modifiers to appear. We can pair up the Karui ancestors with this modifier, making them even more rewarding. Let's go ahead and replace the tentacle miscreations. However, when replacing packs, you want to double check the density.
No me digas que son modificadores para los packs de mobs.
The density of the replaced pack.
O sea, podemos modificar los packs.
The Karui
los podés reemplazar.
we have now added to our area can even drop basic variations of tattoos.
Reemplazás el pack que vos quieras por otro.
This is an item type from the Trial of the Ancestors League, which can be used on passive skills to change what they do.
Joya.
There are many different types of itemized
O sea que van a dejar entonces lo de los
tatuos. You can find Breach and Legion monsters that drop splinters, untainted packs that provide insane amounts of experience, and even simple frogs, which can be used to replace difficult monsters to make life easier. And of course, these Ember monsters can be raised as specters too. Finally, let's discuss how this league works in in-game maps. Each in-game map will allow you to manipulate it using the lantern on the map device UI. However, instead of randomly cycling every few minutes, it is fixed to that map.
Estoy quedando loco.
Once you view the map through the lantern, you cannot remove it from the map device. So you can't trade that map away now that you've seen it is too difficult for you, or has monsters in it that you'd rather avoid, like porcupines. We're also trying something new this time around. During the Necropolis League, there will be support for the League on the Atlas passive tree. Multiple clusters will be there, allowing you to enhance the gameplay, customize it, and even change its behavior in meaningful ways. One way that you can change the crafting in a meaningful way is with the Prospero's Wager Keystone.
Sí, este es el mapa de los mapas, gente, los podés modificar para nada.
With this
Ahora después
keystone,
lo explicamos,
all
es para no
the
cortar al mate
unresolved
que
anguish come
entiende
with
inglés y
this
yo más o
crafting
menos.
modifier, which causes them to generate a random craft when buried. This means instead of pre-planning your crafts, you have to adapt to them on the fly to get the best results. These clusters will not be available in Standard League.
Los modifica 300% de raro acá.
In 3.24, we've made a plethora of changes to the endgame. We're introducing new bosses, adding another tier of maps, and streamlining the Atlas. The most difficult and most rewarding content in Path of Exile can be found in Uber Pinnacle bosses, such as the Maven and the Searing Exile. Currently, the only way to access these bosses is by allocating specific keystones on the Atlas passive tree. While this system offers a nice element of control, it causes a problem. Rewards and access to the non-Uber variants are now economically priced around the rewards of the Uber fights. This means it is wasteful to run the non-Uber variants instead of simply selling them. Another problem that we noticed is the difficulty jump between the Pinnacle and Uber Pinnacle content was relatively large, and there wasn't obvious content that could bridge this gap. Many players would give up on their characters before being able to defeat the Uber Pinnacle bosses. In 3.24, we will be making some changes to this. We are removing the keystones that give access to the Uber Pinnacle bosses from the Atlas tree, and instead we'll be adding a new set of fragments that give you access to this content. Where do you get these fragments? We are adding a new tier of maps, Tier 17 maps, which not only give you access to the
mucha info, no sé cuándo empezar a explicar porque no quiero perderme lo próximo que diga.
No, después lo explicamos,
They feature a new
Entendí
set
que
of
agregaron
bosses,
tiers a los mapas, ¿puede
Uber
ser?
monsters, and
O
a
un
new
tier
tier
nuevo.
of
Claro, agregaron un
modifiers
nuevo
that
tier
can
de
roll on the
mapa que
map.
es ese que estás viendo ahí y ahí van a caer los fragmentos para hacer los Uber bosses porque lo que habían ellos es que entre la diferencia entre hacer un boss normal y un Uber era como muy larga y muchos jugadores no llegaban a eso, se rendían antes. Y entonces quitaron las keystone del árbol de pasivas del Atlas que permitía hacer Ubers y ahora son fragmentos.
Que los conseguís en estos mapas. At the end, you will fight Uber Uhtred. This is a version of a boss from Expedition League, with all its abilities and mechanics enhanced. Uber Uhtred will even be able to summon 2 other Expedition bosses to aid it during the fight.
Está bueno este.
Secondly, we have the Fortress map. This map is an impregnable fortress, guarded by monsters from the Heist League. At the end, you will encounter an Uber version of the Unbreakable.
O sea, claro, los mapas de esto hay
It
Ubers.
has enhanced abilities and mechanics you'll have to learn and overcome. Each of the Tier 17 map bosses has a chance to drop a unique item, allowing for some target farming. However, these aren't entirely new unique items. Instead, we've taken other unique items, removing them from the core drop pool and rebalancing them to fit here. One example is this reworked version of Wraith Lord. It has 4 abyss sockets, and allows you to
sockets
summon an
avisales.
additional spectre for each ghastly eye jewel socketed
4
into
sockets
it.
de...
No, sí, una
avisales.
Another example is Mana
4
Storm.
sockets de avisales, literalmente.
This has been
boludo.
rebalanced to grant a lot more damage than before, alongside some more impactful mana stats.
Claro, porque algunos,
If you can get
o sea,
lucky
vas a
rolls.
matar a los bosses y te van a dar objetos únicos y si bien dice que no son por ahí todos nuevos,
Alongside
tienen algunos
adding Tier
cambios.
17 maps, we have also changed the Uber Pinnacle bosses to have completely distinct unique item drop pools from their non-Uber counterparts. This means there is a reason to farm both versions. Let's take a look at the Shaper versus
Shaper?
the Uber Shaper.
Shaper
The
versus
Shaper
Super
will
Shaper.
drop these uniques: Voidwalker, Shaper's Touch, Solstice Vigil, and Dying Sun.
El frusquito.
Whereas the Uber
El
Shaper
Uber
will
va a
drop
tirar
these:
esto otro.
Echoes of Creation, Sublime Vision, Entropic Devastation, Starforge, and a new unique belt called
no,
the Tides of Time.
Cinto único. Claro, básicamente lo que quieren es que las dos versiones tengan algo para...
Another example of a new
Para
unique is
hacer, ¿no?
this helmet from the Uber Eater of Worlds.
Por ahí antes si
Ravenous
hacías voces
Passion.
te dedicabas a hacer Uber
And
voces
these
todo el tiempo.
gloves from the Uber
Claro, es
Searing
conveniente
Exile,
hacer los
the
normales.
Celestial Brace.
Y
Each
ahora
of
sí
the
te dan
Uber
una razón
Pinnacle
para hacer los
bosses has a
normales,
new
digamos.
unique added to their drop pools.
¿Cómo?
We've identified
ahora
another
te dan una
major
razón para
problem
que
with
los
the
hagas
endgame we'd
normales
like to
también.
address.
Digamos.
Ah,
With every expansion added to the game, we have been increasing the
Che, pero qué
complexity
locura
of
lo de los
running
4
maps.
avisales, boludo. O sea,
It's at the
literalmente
point
es una
now where
locura
a player
eso.
must repeatedly
El
execute
power
a
que te puede
large
llegar a
sequence
dar.
of steps to run maps efficiently. It can be easy to forget critical steps, and it can be tiring to repeat them. To solve this, we are removing some systems, but are keeping what is good about them. The 2 main systems we've removed are Sextants and the
van
Master
a sacar
Mission
los
Selector.
estantes y...
It is not our intention to dull the
escuché el otro.
content, however.
Magic
We have
Find dijo, nada.
completely reworked Scarabs to include most of
escuché la
the
segunda.
options that were previously covered by those mechanics, and many, many more. Let's take a look at some
Pero
of
van a
them.
remover los estantes.
Commonly, you might find Scarabs that simply
Los
grant
estantes sin
access to
master, ahí va.
different content.
Digo, Magic Find no tiene sentido,
Here,
digo,
we
pero
have a
bueno.
Scarab that causes beyond demons to spawn
Que
when
los
killing
escarabajos
monsters
de
in your
mejor, a ver.
maps. And here, we have one that
Ya,
adds a
van a sacar los
delirium
estantes.
mirror. Each type of Scarab
Estos
now
son los
has
Scarab.
multiple versions, so if you want to fully invest in a type of content, you can do so. Here's a suite of Ultimatum Scarabs. This Ultimatum Scarab adds an Ultimatum encounter to a map.
Sí.
This Ultimatum Scarab of bribing then causes that Ultimatum encounter to grant better rewards and its monsters to yield more experience.
Claro, dar más
This
experiencia más
Ultimatum
luego que el
Scarab of
otro.
dueling will cause that Ultimatum encounter to
mira,
always
un boss
guarantee
Claro,
the
estas de-
Trailmaster boss fight at the end, assuming you can
siempre salga el
survive through all
boss.
the rounds. This Ultimatum Scarab of catalyzing will cause all
catalizadores.
rewards from that ultimatum to be catalysts,
Como
instead
recompensa.
of other rewards.
Oh,
And
mira.
finally, this Ultimatum Scarab of Inscription will cause all catalyst rewards from that ultimatum to be inscribed ultimatums instead. There are plenty of others. If you enjoy divination card farming, you might want to use these. This Divination Scarab of Curation causes more divination cards to drop for each different favored map you have selected.
Ah, mira.
But it also causes whatever map you're
Claro,
running to only
te-
drop divination cards from those favored maps.
Cuando te cae la
So if you
Divination,
want to
te lo,
try and aim for your
te lo
Mage
cambia
Blood
por un
and
drop
don't want
de
to just farm
que esté tu
Crimson
mapa
Temple,
favorito. O sea,
then
si
this
querés
Scarab
por ahí
is for
te tiene
you.
una carta que cae en un
This
mapa,
Divination
aunque estés
Scarab of
haciendo otro,
Completion causes your
Sí.
divination cards to have a 20% chance to drop as a full stack
eso está
instead
copado.
for maximum dopamine.
Ah, los cambiaron una banda,
Basically,
los-
there are now
los
just a
Scarabs.
lot of Scarabs.
Por lo,
You might have also
por lo
noticed
general,
that
antes
they no
de
longer
un
have
Scarab te
tiers.
daba una mecánica, el
Scarabs
otro
are
te,
now
te hacía
all
que
world drops.
esa
You
mecánica
can get them
tuviese más
anywhere.
minion o más lo que sea,
Some
la
might
otra
be
más y
rarer than
más y
others,
más.
but the
Ahora
intention
están
is that there'll
bastante
be a
distintos
lot
por
more
lo
options
poco
than
que vi.
before, and more
Yo
interesting
nunca usé igual
combinations to
Scarab de
consider.
Ultimatum, pero
If you want to
Es que tengo
target
muchas ganas de que
specific
se venga ya el
scarabs,
29
the
y
trail
jugar
has been
Necropolis.
updated to
Nada.
include most of them, and you will need to relearn which ones
Me voy a
come
tener que
from
poner a
where.
estudiar ciertas cosas, boludo. de
While
esta
this system is allowing you to
modalidad.
heavily invest in one type of content,
Ah,
it is
otra cosa que
reducing the
cambiaron esto
capacity for variety.
de acá, que
To
pasás por arriba y lo
address this,
agarra
we have
de una,
massively
boludo.
increased access to content on the Atlas passive tree. You
De
are now
Breach,
able to
boludo.
reliably get different leagues like Breach or Legion from just your Atlas passives. Regarding master missions, content such as Incursion, Delve, Betrayal, and Bestiary, these too are now
No,
accessible
pero una
as
locura,
scarabs,
Una
and have
locura
more
todo lo que estoy
reliable
viendo. Una
investment
puta
options on
locura.
the tree, which is just
20.
one in a set of
Cada
many
uno
that
de
allow you
más,
to
más like
target
de
farm
billón
specific
Scarab.
types of
Ah,
scarabs.
para conseguir cierto tipo de
These are
Scarab,
just
¿no?
a few of the many new notables that can be found on the Atlas
Ajá.
passive skill tree.
O sea,
Lastly, we are
que te
giving you more
potencia el
flexibility
drop de
in
los
what
Scarabs.
content you want to
Los
run
podés
in the
potenciar
endgame.
para buscar cierto
In
Scarab.
324, you can now
Claro,
have
para
multiple
conseguir
copies
cierto
of the
tipo de
Atlas
Scarab.
tree.
Ajá.
Which
Y
can be
además
swapped
tenés
between
otro para que
maps
te
at
toquen
your
los más
leisure.
raros.
You
Y
can
así.
unlock up to
Una
2
locura lo que
extra
están
trees
cambiando
el
from
mapa
the
del Atlas.
tree, by progressing through the endgame and
¿Vi
completing
mal
core content.
o metieron tipo
When you
loadout
open a map, you can
de...
select which tree you
del
would
árbol.
like to use.
¿Metieron
Before a
loadout del
given league,
árbol?
You'll never feel constrained to playing your endgame a single way. You can also label
No llegué a
your
ver,
trees
justo
to
estaba
easily
viendo el
identify
campe.
which one has which content. With all
Sí,
this
¿no? Metieron
combined,
tipos
we're hoping to see
loadouts.
new endgame strategies
bueno.
shine through.
Espectacular. Metieron loadout de árbol. Básicamente
O sea, que podés guardar
podés
lo que
armar
hagas,
varios
podés
árboles
hacer
y
varios
después
árboles para
cambiás.
buscar diferentes de drop.
The fundamentals of the campaign are
Antes
still
te da mapa, lo cambias con un
intact, but we've
clic ahí
scattered fun
para hacer
encounters
distintos
and
farmeos.
throughout Rayclass.
Dios.
Eso es God, para hacer distintos farmeos,
The Dweller
boludo.
of the Deep has been tracked.
Ah, literalmente, yo dejé de verdad. Esto es gente que trabaja, realmente gente que trabaja. Gente que realmente trabaja. Esto es un nada,
Why are
boludo.
they
¿Qué
giving
va a
me
ser?
omens?
Yo que cambio de farmeo cada 2 segundos.
Nah, boludo,
Me viene
nah.
re bien, boludo.
Y otros
This
están
device
viendo a ver
looks
si
safe.
le
I
ponen
should
una pestaña. boludo.
definitely use
Nah.
this on my items.
Qué locura, boludo.
There are plenty more encounters to discover.
Ahí está para
We'll
crear
continue
el
adding more
corrupto, hacerlo
surprises in future
corrupto.
releases. So
¿Lo
keep
que lo
an eye
hizo? ¿Con
out.
un sistema ahí o con la Valor?
In the previous
No, eso es
expansion,
la
323,
en la cosa,
we
en la
released a
pirámide.
large number of
Ah,
transfigured
sí.
skill gems.
Mala mía.
These are
Una cosa.
alternate versions of existing skill
Pensé
gems
que
that
estábamos mostrando otra
function
cosa
in
porque estaba
very
leyendo el
different
chat.
ways, allowing for more build and gameplay variety. At the time, our aspirations were higher than we could achieve. We planned more gems than we could make. So, in 324, we're adding another set of transfigured gems that we have
Las
now
gemas
finished.
transfigurables, que esto lo agregaron la temporada pasada.
Incinerate,
Y ahora van a agregar
Artillery
más.
Ballista, Tornado,
Tornado, mira.
Elemental Hit, Kinetic Blast, Poisonous
encanta.
Concoction,
Poisonous
and
Concoction.
lastly,
Opa.
Summon Holy Relic.
Uf.
Hopefully
Bueno,
those
las
of you
gemas
who missed your
transfiguradas
favorite
básicamente
skill
son
having
otra
a
versión de las
transfigured
gemas
variant will
normales.
get that here.
Que
We will
hacen otra
certainly
cosa,
be
¿no?
adding more of these in the future,
lindo.
especially for skills that are
Una
missing
gema
in the
transfigurada
skill.
es como si una habilidad
Of course, we'll
tuvieras
also be
dos
doing a
habilidades,
balance
una
pass
normal
on
y
the
otra
existing
transfigurada que hace otra
transfigured
cosa,
gems.
básicamente.
One
Sí.
of the main ones
Una
we're looking
ridiculez,
at is
gente.
Kinetic
Aunque no lo
Bolt of
crean, una puta
Fragmentation.
ridiculez.
As a result of this change, it is clear that the endgame potential of the Wander archetype really starts to suffer, mostly in the single target damage department. Due to this, we've added the new support gem, Sacred Wisps.
A ver, una
This
nueva
support gem causes supported skills to create 2 attached wisps for a duration. With these wisps, whenever you attack, they have a chance to also use the same skill
what
if
the
you
fuck?
have enemies in your presence. And if there are any rare or unique enemies, they will always use the skill.
O sea que cuando vos le pegas a un enemigo
leads
tenés
us into all the other quality of life
una
features
probabilidad de
we're
invocar
introducing
dos
in
wisps
324.
y básicamente
And
esos dos
there's a
wisps van a usar tu
shitload.
misma habilidad, tienen una chance de
Many
usar
of
tu
these
misma
have been
habilidad.
revealed in teasers
Supuestamente si
already,
es raro siempre
but
lo van a
here's a
usar.
quick summary.
We've added the
Boludo,
automation and
qué
call to arms
ridiculez,
skill
boludo.
gems
Qué
for
puta
being able to
Eso es
ridiculez.
trigger
una
instant
support
skills
nueva.
and war cries without having to
Qué
bind them to left.
ridiculez.
You can now hold
esto
down
también
control
son
and
quality of
left
life,
click
son
to
God,
automatically
boludo.
apply certain currency orbs until they achieve the desired result.
Jodeme.
Or you run out.
Ya no
No,
tenés
mirá
que
los
hacer clic.
fusing, boludo.
O sea, simplemente
You can hold down fuses
dejás el
until
clic
you reach
apretado con
maximum
creo que es
limits.
control y no me
You
acuerdo
will
si
be able
shift
to
o no sé,
control,
bueno, no importa.
shift, click currency
Y va
into a trade
aplicando todo y lo
window
mismo
to
esto, ¿ves?
automatically move
Control
all of
shift
that
y pasa
currency
toda la
at
currency de
once
una.
from your
Toda la que es igual.
What the fuck, qué lindo.
Son
Son quality of life, parece una boludez, pero si tradeas y estás todo el día, ¿sabes cómo te
pero
rompe
eso-
eso?
When
Nah,
harvest
es
crafting,
increíble.
the item
Nah,
hover will
nah, no lo
always
puedo
be
creer,
visible.
¿verdad? No lo
Cuando
puedo
tenés
creer.
que traer una tab
Mouse back and
completa
forth
ahí
to see the
de
results of your crafts.
lo que
When
sea,
you use a
boludo.
file
Es...
orb on a map, the map no longer has a chance to become unidentified. Instead, it adds a new implicit.
A esto también
We've
cambiaron lo de
created
los
a set of
corruptos ahora en los
implicits that
mapas cuando los
affect the areas in
corrompes.
fun ways.
Sí.
Antes tenían una chance de quedar
Related to
como
that,
ocultos,
corrupted
digamos,
and mirrored items can now be
sin
identified.
identificar. Y cuando quedaban sin
Breach
identificar
hands
significa
now
que
open upon
el
approach
mapa te queda igual.
and no longer need
Ahora
to
lo
be
que hace es
clicked.
meter un implícito arriba del todo.
Upgrades to Pantheon powers now apply to all
Ahí cambiaron lo de
characters in
brechas
the
también,
league.
que la brecha
You no
pasas
longer
por arriba y
need to grind
ya
divine
abrís el
vessels on
caché.
each new character.
Metieron un montón de
With
quality.
harvest crafting, you can now re-roll Uber Elder
Ah, boludo,
fragments.
se han sacado la tula.
Fragments dropped by the
Se
Shaper
han
cannot
sacado
be
la puta
re-rolled
tula,
into
gente.
fragments dropped by the
Ah,
Elder
esto es
and
increíble.
Mira,
Elder.
puedes cambiar los fragmentos del Elder.
Regarding Betrayal, we're removing Ashling's crafting bench as a
O sea, puedes cambiar
reward.
los fragmentos.
Instead, Veiled Orbs now perform that function. They remove a mod and replace it with a Veiled mod. These orbs now
Bueno,
drop
eso
from
ya no
Katarina
me acuerdo
and
bien
are
qué
no
era.
longer
Era algo
a
de
world
Catarina,
drop.
que ya ahí no sé.
Flasks can now be
No sé, porque
corrupted by
no hice
Val
mucho ese contenido.
giving random -10 to +10 quality.
Pero básicamente ahora están
The
los,
capability
en los
to
Chaos
add
Veil.
extra quality to weapons,
Son los ítems velados, que es
armors, and
básicamente,
flasks has been removed from Betrayal.
por compararlo a algo,
The
sería como
Betrayal
los
bench
sellados
craft that
de la
converts an
Zipo.
amulet to a talisman has been
No es lo
moved to
mismo en realidad,
bestiary,
porque
and
te puede
thus
caer un
can
ítem
be
ya
traded.
con...
Maven
con velado, no es lo
invitations
mismo,
no
pero
longer
bueno.
drop. Instead,
No sé
when
ni
you
por
have
qué lo digo.
completed witnessing all bosses required to go to the Maven Haven's arena, you can just talk to Kerak, and he'll open a map device window with the invitation already in there, ready to be rolled. Valdo's maps that granted invitations now give scarabs. No more having to waste Guardian kills to try get invitations to drop. Next up, we're going to be talking about our new League support packs.
¿Quién va a gastar
Today, we're
$500
launching 2 new series of
preparados para
support
sus
packs,
Ahora sí se viene
$500?
lo bueno.
Solar and Eldritch packs. Each tier contains the full pack's face value in points, alongside several exclusive microtransactions. These packs are only available for the duration of the Necropolis League, and will leave the store forever when it ends. As always, the microtransactions in these packs are purely cosmetic, and do not affect your character's power or progression in any way. The Solar series of supporter packs contains 6 exclusive microtransactions. The Cosmos weapon effect adorns your weapon with stars. Hitting enemies causes cosmic energy to spill out into the area around them. The Radiant Orb of Chance extra effect projects the outcome of items you've used an Orb of Chance on above your head. Remember to congratulate other exiles in town if you see them chance a powerful unique
Te
item.
juro que voy a comprar
Shine boldly
realmente,
with the Solar Knight
realmente
armor set.
voy a comprar
The power
lo
of
de
the
los
sun
currency.
radiates from your body, getting more and more
Uy,
intense
qué lindo
as
que
you
está,
use
boludo.
skills
Mirá vos
and emitting solar flares as you
esa
run.
aura que va dejando de atrás.
With the
aparte se va haciendo
supernova
más
level
intenso a
up
medida que
extra
va.
effect,
Sí.
the dead will be raised from the ground
No,
around you
boludo, mirá
before
vos.
being obliterated and turned to ash by an epic supernova whenever you level up.
Uf.
This one is my personal favorite.
Cuando subí de nivel
The
haces
Cosmic
eso.
Turtle hideout lets you
Es
travel
tremendo.
the infinite expanse of the
Muy
cosmos
buena, boludo.
atop the back of a
¿Cuánto va a
colossal
salir, boludo, este
turtle.
paquete? Tengo una gana de tenerlo, pero
Carry the weight of the sun on your back with the solar guardian
soportes
Da igual,
packs
estos no
son
son los de
carísimos.
$500 nada, estos son los de
los
normales.
as the
30,
energy of slain
60 y
enemies is funneled
90.
into it. When it reaches
Por lo
its
general,
maximum
¿no?
size, it goes supernova and turns into a black hole, forever
Que igual es
drifting
guita, ¿no?
throughout
Pero no son
Recordá.
$500.
Claro, no, no.
The Eldritch Pack series also has 6 exclusive microtransactions.
No,
Are you wondering if we moved
estaba...
the stash in the latest patch? Don't be
Los
fooled,
12,
because
boludo,
with
ahí
the
que-
Mimic
para
Stash
abrir
pet,
portales.
players can transform into an image of a stash when in a town
mirá
or
qué lindo
hideout,
que está.
and
No,
Me
el
estás
mismo.
jodiendo.
suspecting exiles.
¿Qué?
This pet follows behind you with its terrifying hand-walking the rest of the time. The Shaper's
¿Y lo podés
Slam
tener todo el
finisher
tiempo,
effect
dijo?
sends slain unique enemies into a
Final abyss of unending darkness.
The Eldritch Hunger armor set contains a beast that
O
demands
sea
you
que todos
defeat
mis
it by
traumas
embracing
de
your
los Soul van a
bloodlust.
pasar a Poe también ahora. Cada vez
Watch
que
it
abrir un
grow
cofre.
in power the more you
No te
kill
lo puedo
until it bursts
creer,
from the shell of
boludo.
the
Lo
helmet.
quiero ya, ese
Are
Mimi.
you
Ya no voy a
able
abrir
to
más los
satiate
cofres,
its
boludo.
hunger?
No, gente.
Le voy a pegar antes de abrirlo.
The seed within
Ah,
the
ya lo
corrupted
quiero, boludo,
growth
pero es una
No,
pet.
mirá,
O sea, te
sí,
sigue
sí,
para
va
todos
para
lados el
los
Mimi.
The more maps you complete on your atlas.
Es como una pet que
Equipping
te va
the
siguiendo.
Headhunter character effect causes skulls of
mirá, es el
slain
de los
rare
cráneos,
enemies to
boludo.
whirl around you like trophies. They become enraged when you are near a rare enemy you are yet to kill, wishing for them to join your collection.
Qué locura,
Witness
boludo.
a reality where the struggle didn't exist, allowing the Eldritch Horrors to settle their own conflicts with the Eldritch Horror Apparition effect. Which of the Eater of Worlds or Searing Exarch do you think will win?
Tengo una
These
pregunta
packs
para
are
hacerte,
now
Mate.
available for purchase on both PC and console, and will remain so during Path of
Les hago
Exile
una pregunta, gente.
Necropolis.
¿Cuánto me cobran esta expansión?
Meanwhile, the Shade and Disciple packs leave
Estos
the
son los
store
de la
forever at the
temporada.
launch of
Ah,
the
es
Necropolis
gratis.
League. So now's your last chance to purchase
No tengo
them.
que dejar 70.
Thank you so much for your
¿Y
ongoing
todo
support.
gratis? Ah, mirá.
The new
Boludo,
mystery box
111.000
and this
personas
season's
metió,
Kirax
boludo.
box developments.
Impresionante, gente.
We're looking
No,
forward
no,
to doing some
impresionante
awesome
lo que está haciendo el
Gravecrafts
PATH
and
of
conquering the
Exile.
new in-game bosses with you next week.
111k mirando
We'll
su
begin the
streaming.
Q&A shortly, so please get your questions
Impresionante,
ready.
loco. Impresionante, mi loco, weón.